An important question for enterprise gamification is what actually motivates people in the workplace. So there are all of the standard kinds of things: your salary, bonuses, stock options, verbal praise from your supervisors, promotions, more job responsibility, all the traditional kinds of levers of compensation that get used in the workplace to encourage people to work. But hopefully, if you've been listening to the course so far, you realize that these are almost entirely extrinsic motivators. They are not things that are about the inherent joy and pleasure and engagement of the work. They are external rewards that are designed as compensation. Think about what the word compensation means. It's something you have to get to compensate you for doing something that you don't really want to do, i.e. work. So there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, that's how salaries work everywhere, and they're going to be the core element of how people get motivated to do jobs for most people. But there's more to the story than that. There's something beyond working for external rewards, and that's where gamification has a real opportunity if it's designed in the ways I've talked about to focus on producing engaging experiences and activating intrinsic motivation. So let's look at a few different ways that gamification can motivate people at work outside of chasing rewards. One is learning or skill development. That might be in order to attain some of those extrinsic rewards. If you have better skills, you get a higher salary, or you get promoted to a better job, or maybe you get a better job somewhere else. But learning, as I've talked about, is also about problem solving, and it's about engaging those parts of your brain that love to figure out new things. So skill development in the workplace can take advantage of gamification in a way that is helpful for the employees and also beneficial for the companies. What I've highlighted here is a screenshot from a service by LiveOps, which is an outsourced call center operator. What LiveOps does is they essentially create virtual call centers by stitching together people working at home using an application to act as though they're part of a virtual part of a call center. And so LiveOps has lots of people working part-time for them. Stay-at-home moms, people who are out of work, people who pick up an hour here, an hour there, answering calls or making outbound calls for the call center from home. And therefore, people who are often eager to develop new skills if it can be done in a flexible way that fits in with their situation. So LiveOps has built their own gamified site. It's got the usual kinds of trophies and badges. It's got the feedback metrics about what people are doing, points, all of the usual things, but it's very much geared towards skill development. It's geared not as much towards we want you to get off this call that you're on with a customer quickly and in a way that makes the customer happy, which was the other call center example I talked to you about. This is much more about we want to help you learn how to be better at this job, how to learn different aspects of the job, and how to be effective in a way that will then move you up, in a way that's recognized by the badges and achievements and so forth, and then potentially help you on the path to your success in your career. So that's one motivator that lots of companies have for their employees, the opportunity to learn things and skill up. Next is information. So what's the value of information to an employee? Well, employees don't always know how they're doing. Performance review every 6 months, every year, and that's very far removed from the day-to-day process of your work. You get feedback from your coworkers and your boss and so forth, but many employees don't really have any sense about the quality of their work, and certainly no ability to directly turn that back around and take advantage of situations where they are doing a good job. This is a screenshot from a company called Objective Logistics, which does gamification initially targeted at the restaurant industry. So they provide a dashboard for restaurants to use for their servers where they can track how the servers are doing, what check size they're getting, and what their performance is. And they can then provide feedback to the employees about how they're doing. In this week's challenge is sell a bunch of the dinner entrees, and so forth. There are various metrics that are put on here. There's summaries about your ranking on the leaderboard and how much you earned in extra tips. All of this provides information to the server, and it provides information to the company. And the company can use this in order to target the best shifts to the employees who are doing the best job, which motivates the employees to do a better job, to get the better work opportunities, and also gives them a much more concrete sense of what their performance is. It activates the competitive instinct and the desire to chase the reward, but it also paints a better picture for the employee, connects up very directly what they're doing via feedback to the way that the company treats them. The next one is corporate citizenship. So this I'll talk about in more detail in a subsequent segment, but there are things that you do sometimes in a company that are not necessarily about your job. Great example is the language quality game from Microsoft that I used as one of the early examples, where they got employees to review all of these dialog boxes for Windows localization in different languages. And I told you that thousands of Microsoft employees did this voluntarily. Why? Well, part of it was just the inherent fun of the game. Part of it was competition to want to beat the other offices. But part of it was a sense that they were doing something that was good for the company. They were helping Microsoft make better products by removing bugs and errors in the localization of Windows. And that's something that people who are part of an organization, part of a team, feel some resonance with. They are not going to work as a volunteer for weeks on end just for the company's good, but they want to take pride in their work and their workplace, and they want to be good corporate citizens. So that's a motivator that can be used for gamification. Finally, last but certainly not least, what about fun? What's the role of fun in the workplace? Well, there are lots of benefits of fun in the workplace, creating a more congenial environment, promoting teamwork, so on and so forth. But there are opportunities to specifically use fun to achieve direct workplace benefits. This is something called the Face Game at Zappos. And if you want to see more details, there's a little video here about this. Zappos is an online retailer, initially of shoes, now of other clothing type items. That's part of Amazon.com now. Amazon bought it for roughly $1 billion. And Zappos, as we'll talk about, is a very fun workplace. This is something that they created called the Face Game for their employees. When you log on to the company intranet, after you type in your name and password, you get shown a picture of someone who's one of your coworkers, randomly selected, and you get to say, who is this? And you can fill in, this is Rhonda, or you can say, I have no clue, don't know who this is. And what the game does is once you do that, it either says, congratulations, you got it right, it's Rhonda, or it says, nope, that was actually Brenda. And we'll give you Brenda's profile page in the company intranet. So what this does is creates a little bit of fun and helps people get to know their coworkers, helps them find out more about the people who work with them, what they do, where they work, what their skills are, which can be valuable in terms of promoting better collaboration and teamwork within the organization, all based on leveraging off of fun.